Have you ever wondered what early Christians truly believed? Many presume it was the same as today's Christianity, but is that really the case? It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the past mirrors the present, but history often tells a different tale. The early days of Christianity, for instance, are shrouded in layers of misconception. One popular myth is that the early Christians were a unified group with consistent beliefs and practices. Another is that their doctrines were set in stone from the get-go, including the concept of the Trinity, the divinity of Jesus, and salvation through faith. These are just a few examples, and there are many more misconceptions out there. But what if we told you these notions don't entirely match the historical truth? What if the early Christian landscape was more complex and diverse than we've been led to believe? Intrigued? Prepare to dive deep into the past and shatter some long-held beliefs. Understanding early Christianity requires us to journey back in time, to a period when the religion was in its formative years. The 1st century AD, a time of massive socio-political changes, was when the seeds of this faith were sown and began to sprout. The Roman Empire, with its vast territories and diverse cultures, played a crucial role in shaping early Christianity. The empire's extensive road networks and sea routes facilitated the spread of ideas, including Christian teachings. It was a time of Pax Romana, a period of relative peace that allowed for the diffusion of various philosophies and religions. However, it's important to remember that early Christianity was not a unified, monolithic entity within the empire. There were diverse interpretations and practices, each shaped by regional cultural influences and individual understandings. In tandem with the Roman context, the Jewish tradition was another significant influence on early Christianity. After all, Christianity emerged from Jewish roots. Jesus and his apostles were Jews, and their teachings initially appealed to Jewish communities. The Jewish concepts of monotheism, the Messiah, and the sacred scriptures profoundly influenced early Christian beliefs. However, as Christianity spread among the Gentiles, it started to develop an identity distinct from Judaism, incorporating elements from Greco-Roman philosophies and cultures. It's essential to understand that early Christianity was not a static entity. Instead, it was a dynamic and evolving movement, responding to the changing socio-political and cultural landscapes of the time. This fluidity led to a broad spectrum of beliefs and practices within the early Christian community. The spread of Christianity was not a uniform process either. It moved at different paces in different regions, rapidly in some areas, slowly in others. This uneven spread, coupled with regional cultural influences, led to the emergence of diverse Christian communities with their unique interpretations of Christian teachings. With this historical context in mind, we can now explore the true beliefs of early Christians. Remember, early Christianity was a tapestry of diverse strands, each colored by its unique historical and cultural influences. It's a complex, fascinating story that deserves our full attention. Contrary to popular belief, early Christianity was not a monolith. It was a tapestry of diverse beliefs and practices. Delving into the core beliefs of early Christianity, we find ourselves at the heart of a fascinating and complex world. One such belief is the concept of the Trinity. This doctrine, central to Christian faith, posits that God exists as three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but one entity. However, in the early days of the faith, different groups held varying interpretations. Some saw them as three distinct entities, while others viewed them as different facets of a single deity. Next, we venture into the divinity of Jesus. Today, many Christians acknowledge Jesus as both human and divine, the Son of God who walked the earth. Yet, in the early Christian era, not all agreed on this point. Some groups, like the Ebionites, saw Jesus as a purely human figure, a prophet but not divine. Others, like the Docetists, believed the opposite, that Jesus was wholly divine and only seemed to be human. And what about salvation? Modern Christianity often emphasizes salvation through faith in Jesus Christ. But in the early days, beliefs about salvation were as diverse as the people who held them. Some early Christians believed in salvation through faith alone, while others emphasized the importance of good works alongside faith. Still others held to a form of universal salvation, the belief that all souls would eventually be reconciled with God. As we trace these threads of belief, we begin to see a picture of early Christianity that is far from uniform. It was a rich mosaic of ideas and interpretations, shaped by the people who lived it and the times in which they lived. Instead of a single, unchanging faith, we find a dynamic and diverse spiritual movement, evolving in response to its environment. It becomes clear that early Christianity was far more diverse than we often assume. So what is the surprising truth about early Christianity? Well, here's the shocker. Early Christians weren't all singing from the same hymnal. Yes, unlike the standardized version of Christianity that emerged later, the early Christian community was a vibrant tapestry of diverse beliefs and practices. Not every early Christian saw Jesus as divine, and not all agreed on the concept of the Trinity or salvation through faith. These variances were not minor hiccups, but substantial differences that signified a broad and dynamic spectrum of theological interpretations. From Gnostic Christians to Judaizers, from Ebionites to Marcionites, early Christianity was a rich, colorful, and sometimes contentious mosaic of faith. Over time, however, this diversity was gradually suppressed. Certain beliefs were endorsed and canonized, while others were deemed heretical and cast aside. The result? A more uniform but perhaps less representative version of Christianity. This revelation paints a much more complex picture of early Christianity, doesn't it? In summarizing, it's clear that our understanding of early Christianity often differs from historical reality. It's essential to remember that the beliefs held by early Christians were not as uniform as we might think. They were, in fact, incredibly diverse, with different interpretations of key concepts like the Trinity, the divinity of Jesus, and salvation through faith. The historical context also plays a vital role in shaping our perception. Over time, certain beliefs became standardized, overshadowing the complex and rich tapestry of early Christian thought. This standardization, while offering a more unified perspective, may have also led to the misinterpretation of early Christian beliefs. In essence, the early Christian world was a melting pot of diverse beliefs and practices, a far cry from the monolithic image we often associate with it. This understanding allows us to appreciate the depth and complexity of early Christian thought. We invite you to share your thoughts on this topic and to explore more videos on the history of religion on our channel. Until next time, keep questioning and keep exploring.
We are constantly making new content to help you on your walk of faith. Please like and subscribe to make sure you stay up to date with the latest content.